Hello, grade 11s. Today we're starting on financial mathematics. This will be in book one. These PowerPoints will be uploaded so you can just follow from there. So you'll notice that I'm skipping a few slides because they're just talking about what is finance and stuff like that. And I am going to the main slides like this. As you guys remember from last year, you guys did a simple interest, and the formula for simple interest is this here. This will be given on your formula sheet. Just to remember though, simple interest is added to the principal amount only, okay, not to the principal amount and any interest earned. Basically what that means is you will only get interest on what you deposit. Okay, so if you deposit 2,000 Rand, you will only get interest on that 2,000 Rand. Whereas compound interest, on the other hand, that very first time period, you will get interest. Then that second time, you'll get interest on your interest, and then interest on the interest on the interest. And it keeps on building up like that. And that is why compound interest grows very quickly compared to simple interest, because simple interest, you only get interest on what you put in. Okay. Simple interest, therefore, represents linear as opposed to an exponential growth. So your exponential will be your compound. Simple interest is mainly used for hire purchase agreements. Please highlight this, guys. So what I want you to do, take down all of this into your books and then highlight that. Whenever they mention hire purchase, you know you're going to be using simple interest. Okay, and remember, guys, you can just pause as you go along and copy this into your books. Okay. Then we're going on to compound interest. Again, this formula will be given to you on your formula sheet. So for compound interest, this is your formula. Okay, compound interest is added to the principal amount and interest earned. So you get interest on your interest. Compound interest therefore represents exponential as opposed to linear. Always use compound interest unless simple interest is stated explicitly or hire purchase agreement is being considered. So always use compound interest unless they tell you you've got a hire purchase agreement or they say simple interest. Okay, right, going on to some examples here. So example one, it says Mr. Edwards purchases a tumble dryer for 8,500 Rand. He pays a deposit of 5% and finances the balance with a hire purchase. So remember, hire purchase is simple interest. So we know we're going to be using the simple interest formula. Determine the monthly installment under the agreement if the financial institution charges Mr. Edwards an interest rate of 12.7% per annum over 2 years. So the first thing that we need to do here is, because he's paying a deposit, we need to work out how much he's going to be taking out as a loan. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, this is example one. The first thing I'm going to be doing is finding out how much is the deposit. So deposit will be equal to, now if we go back to the question, they're telling us here that he pays a deposit of 5%. So that will be 5%, and remember with percent we now write it over 100, and it's 5% of the total amount. So that's 8,500 Rand. This you can just type directly into the calculator and we get a deposit amount of 425 Rand. Okay, there's the deposit amount. What we need to calculate now is the loan amount. All right, loan amount will be equal to the original amount subtract the deposit. Now remember how that works is whenever you take something on a hire purchase, you have to give a deposit and you are paying for that item. So you need to take it off from the total amount, and that's what we're doing here. If we work this out, we get a loan amount of 8,075 Rand. So Mr. Edwards needs to borrow this 8,075. Okay, We know that it's hire purchase. That means we are going to be using the simple interest formula. A equals P 1 plus I times N. And what I'm going to do here is just fill in my A, P, I, N. In grade 11s, this is how I would like you to set it up. It makes it so much easier. Okay, so A, remember, is the accumulated amount. That we don't know. Okay, we are going to work that out. The principal amount is whatever the loan amount was, which is this 8,075. The interest, they told us here, is 12.7% per annum. Are you right? 12.7 over 100. Now, if they give you a decimal like this, guys, just make it whatever the decimal is over 100. All right? And you can just put that on the calculator as is. And then N, remember, N is our time period, and it's over 2 years. So N is equal to 2. All I have to do now is just substitute these values into the formula, and we get P is 8,075. 1 plus I is 12.7 over 100. N is multiplied by 2. Just put that in the calculator as is, and we get a total amount of 10,126 Rand and 5 cents. Okay, but we haven't answered the question. The question is, determine the monthly installment. What we've got here is we have got the total amount of the loan. Okay, this is the total amount of the loan, but he still needs to pay this off, and it's over 2 years. So what we're going to do now is the monthly installments. And to find this out, we take the total loan amount of 10,126 and 5 cents, and we divide that by how many months there are. So we've got 2 years, but now to convert the 2 years into months, we multiply that by 12. Put that on the calculator, and we get a monthly installment of 421 Rand and 92 cents. And now we have answered the question. Those are the monthly installments. All right. Mr. Edwards, therefore, has paid this every month and that deposit as a total payment for this tumble dryer. Okay, going on to example 2 now. It's now saying that Tando plans to buy a car in 3 years' time and will need a deposit of 18,000 Rand. How much should she deposit with her bank now to meet her goal? The account earns an interest rate of 4.5% per annum. Now, grade 11s, they haven't mentioned anything about simple interest in here. They haven't mentioned anything about a hire purchase. So we know that we're going to be using a compound interest formula. So I just want to get all of that down. So this is example 2. A equals, P equals, I equals, N equals. Compound formula, A is equal to P, 1 plus I to the power of N. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extract all the information from this question here. They've told us that Tando plans to buy the car in 3 years' time. Our time period is 3. And we'll need a deposit of 18,000. Now, that is what she needs at the end of whatever this time period is, 3 years. She does not have that amount yet. She is saving up for it. So that will be an accumulated amount. That is what she'll have at the end of all of this. And they're asking how much does she need to deposit now in order to save up 18,000. So the principal we don't know. The interest rate they told us was 4.5%. Remember, guys, if it's a decimal, just write it as it is over 100. Now I can just substitute everything into the formula, and we get 18,000 equals P 1 plus 4.5 over 100 to the power of 3. Now, grade 11s, with a question like this, how I would do it on the calculator is I would work out what this bit is here because we want to find out what P is. So let's work out what this is. And we've got 1 plus 4.5 over 100 to the power of 3. And we get this. All I do now is I take this 18,000 divided by that, whatever that answer is. And we get 18,000 divided by ounce. That is our principal amount. And remember, grade 11s with finance, always round off your answers to 2 decimal places. Even if the instructions on the front of the paper say 1 decimal place, financial questions, 2 decimal places always. So we get here 15,773 and 34 cents, rounded off to 2 decimals. Therefore, that means that Thando needs to deposit or invest 15,773 Rand and 34 cents in order to get 18,000 Rand in 3 years' time. All right, grade 11s. Homework for this would be exercise 12.1, number 4, 5, 7, and 9. Thanks, guys.